Oh, what they call the new classic rock right here on 108.9 The Hawk and the Geoff and Whisp Show. Whisp Charlington. Hello, everyone. How are you this morning? 8:02.
Jeff the Angerman Garlock, how are you doing, Wisp?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. Thank you for
I realize I feel awkward. I've never...
What's that?
Have I ever asked you how you're doing?
No. See, I ask the crowd. I ask everybody.
You ask the crowd.
And
you crowdsource it.
I do crowdsource it, so I can just suck in the... Basically, I'm sucking their life force, Jeff.
Oh, God,
when they say it, I'm just sucking it all in.
You're like a regular old space vampire, just sucking the life force in. I am a regular old
space vampire. And, well, I mean, I'm 76 years old. Been doing radio for a very long time. I might as well be a space vampire at this point in time. But it is the Wisp... Oh, I keep... effing that up. It is the Geoff and Whisp Show. I don't think
there's a lot of changes. It's hard to keep up.
Get rid of. Yeah, it is hard to keep up. I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to that, Jeff.
I mean, you know what? I'm not going to get used to.
What's that?
All this goddamn new classic rock.
Oh my God!
And the thing is, too, is like that's the Chai Peps, right?
That's the Red Hot Chili Peppers from their 1999 album, Jeff.
So that's the thing. That's like a new classic rock. When does it stop being new classic rock and start being new classic rock?
So new classic rock would be considered anything off the Blood Sugar Sex Magic record.
That's new classic rock. But this is like like new metal, like umlaut.
It's new metal. It's not noi metal. That's completely different.
Oh, that would be like krautrock metal, which would be fantastic. Yes, I would love a good noi metal.
Lemon Sour would play that every 7 p.m. right here on 108.9 The Hawk with Go.
He would do a mashup of television and noi metal, and it would be very confusing all around. A lot of angular guitars.
Oh, my God. But Scotty, our producer behind the glass, would it kill you? Would it kill you? Some Steely Dan?
I mean, just one. Just Peg. Not even the whole song.
I just want to hear the Peg.
That's all we need.
If you could just play the Peg part over and... Can we get a Peg sweeper?
Can you give us a goddamn Peg
sweeper? We basically just gave it to you, Scotty. Oh, my God.
It's right there. I mean, every time you want to play a Candlebox song, play just the Peg sweeper. And we'll just move on from there.
Hey, big news today. If you're a big fan of 108.9 The Hawk and Cheese Sticks, our own Jason Gore's going to be hotcasting from 3 to 6 today at the Cheese Stick Factory. Now, this is all sorts of variations, and owner Dungle Cheese, it's not spelled the way you think, or is it spelled the way you think? It's a Z at the end. That's
I guess it's based on how you think cheese is spelled, or more importantly, how do you spell Dungle?
Well, God, don't get me started on that one. 8:04. But yeah, he's going to be there from 3 until 6 today. No free anything.
Oh.
So a lot of...
he's just there.
He's just there. So
so it's kind of like just another old day at the cheese factory.
It's another day, but Jason Gore's going to be there, and it's going to be a great time. So you know you want to go out for that. Other big news today, Jeff. We got to talk about this real quick. All the news you can use, or the news you can lose. It's news time on 108.9 The Hawk. Oh, you know our neighbor city, Shartlesburg. We hate them.
With a passion.
We hate them, but the transmitter does go all the way out there.
So we love the ones who listen.
We love the ones. If you listen in Shartlesburg, we love you. If you don't, my God, what a dung pile. But hey, they have a new mayor. A squirrel named Rudy Tooty was elected mayor of Shartlesburg today. They really went for it.
They said it couldn't happen, and then Shartlesburg was like, "We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen." So,
and that was Rudy Tooty's slogan too.
That was, and
I mean, that was, of course, translated from.
Of course, our mayor, David Lee Roth, heard about this, and he said this is his statement on the neighboring mayor.
Go for it. Take a shot. Take a shot. People live their life in fear, and then they wonder why the world is caving in on them, and their wife left, and he left, and on and on.
Oh, see, that's just good. Go for it. Our mayor, Mayor David Lee Roth, says to you, Rudy Tooty, go for it.
So go for it. Any laws you want to put in, just go for it.
You just go for it.
You just go for it.
What any laws you want to put in? Are you Southern all of a sudden?
I think
Hey,
I'm just.
Laws, you want to put in?
Hold on, that was my Jersey accent. Right?
Oh, that was your Springsteen Jersey accent.
That was my Springsteen Jersey.
When he's all
there.
like, man, when I recorded Born to Run.
I was there and down.
You sound like David Bryan from Bon Jovi.
That's what I mean. That was the thing. He was hanging out with David Bryan a lot around that time. Most people don't realize. True New Jerseyan, David Bryan.
A true New Jerseyan, David Bryan.
Respect and power.
Respect
to
and
David
power.
Bryan.
Yes. Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah, that's why you say respect and power.
But you said R.I.P.
R.I.P. Respect and power.
Respect and power. You could say that.
If he was resting,
okay, good.
Then we'd throw some prayers up today.
Oh, hey, you did join us on our Salute to Val Verde Space Heroes episode. My God. A lot of people don't know that Val Verde and the space program, they're intertwined. You wouldn't have a lot of the space heroes that you love and know if you didn't have Val Verde and space. You have to have both of them.
If we didn't have space, we wouldn't have the space program. That's just a fact.
That's a fact. And when I talk to you about space heroes from Val Verde, who do you think of?
Oh, I mean, Stan Long Happenstance.
Oh, God, he's good. Buzzy Crunkle.
Buzzy Crunkle, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, The Dig. The one we just called The Dig.
He was just known as The Dig, no other name.
No other name. You get in that spaceship, he goes, The Dig's taking off, and you're like, all right.
The Dig's taking off, and it's like, all right.
All right. Get off our back, The Dig.
One of my favorites, though, Hans Malone.
Oh.
He was the best navigator. He'll get you to the damn moon, but he's going to be a fucking jerk about it.
Oh, he's going to...
Scotty, go ahead and fire the delay. I will pay for that.
If we're talking about Hans Malone, we got to pay for that delay. Because
you got to pay for the delay.
He'll be like, get us to the moon. He's like, fuck you. And it's like, what is going on here?
Fire it again, Scotty.
Just fire it again. We're talking hands.
And then, of course, the best one of all, you remember him from the Apollo 28 mission, our last mission to the moon, and it was the first mission to the moon in full color. And if you want to get to the bottom of the moon, because he was the first one to go there, there's only one man, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie Clunk Bottoms.
Hello. Now, please save your applause. I'm merely an elderly astronaut flogging a goddamn book on the radio.
Yes. Oh, my God. Mr. Bottoms, or Clunk, if you would allow me to.
So, my name is Charlie Clunk Bottoms. Now,
oh, interesting.
Wow.
My given name is Charlie after my father.
Okay.
My nickname was Charles.
Oh.
When I got to the space program at NASA, they said you need a fun nickname.
Because everyone has them.
Buzz.
They all got them.
Yep.
Skipjack.
Yep.
Tiny Tom.
Oh, I love Tiny Tom.
Hands and Long.
Armstrong, not his real name.
Not his real name. A nickname.
He was Smith.
Neil Smith was his given name, you see.
Exactly. No one's going to pick up on that.
But he had one withered arm.
Oh.
Really?
And for a bit in the program, we called him Withered Arm. But it was decided this was cruel, you see.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
You can't say anything nowadays. And when I say nowadays, I mean back then. I mean, that's just terrible.
What we were in the space program were truth tellers. We were saying what was on everyone's minds. But we're afraid to say.
Exactly.
I'll tell you something.
Tell me, Clunk. I don't know what to call him, honestly.
You can call me Clunk. That was the nickname they gave me.
Okay, great.
But when you're strapped into a lunar module,
oh God,
with nothing but friends and farts in outer space, that's when you start telling the truth.
Oh, okay. Now,
you stop being polite and you start getting real.
The fart world
That's
up
right.
in space.
The fart world.
That's right. When you're in a can full of space farts, there's no point in arguing about it anymore. But then, it seemed cruel. And Richard Nixon called us up and said, please, when you land on the surface of the moon, don't refer to him as weak arm. Make up a nickname for his other arm. Call him Armstrong. That was the nickname.
And it was
the only
just
nice thing Richard Nixon ever did. That is so
it was
wonderful.
such a nice thing that
Such a nice thing he
Well, you have
did.
to understand, it was nice, but we had to do it, you see. Because in part, he was commander-in-chief, even of NASA at times. Not an armed force, strong or weak.
No.
He was the commander of NASA. We had to do what he said. And also he was holding our children hostage. So
Really?
Now that sounds like Nixon. I gotta say. Before I was like, this doesn't sound like Nixon. Are we sure this is him? That's
Wasn't
a
much-
Nixon move.
wasn't much freedom of choice in this man's astronaut army, you know.
So when he holds them hostage, what's it? Are we talking cage? Are we talking like hidden cave? Is he putting them in there with NORAD, just like watch these kids?
No, it wasn't anything so dramatic.
Okay.
They were kept in the White House bowling alley.
Less dramatic
well, that's
kidnapping.
nice.
Okay, that's very nice.
I would like to be kidnapped that
They
way.
weren't allowed to bowl,
Oh, well, now that's punishment.
torture.
but they set up some cots there. And
Okay. Just like right up and down the lane.
Richard Nixon liked to bowl while they watched.
Oh, and that was why it was bad. They had cots on the lane, though, sometimes.
knocking all
They
their
were assigned the
belongings.
lane. I'm not sure you understand the
everywhere.
geography of the White House bowling alley.
You know what? I have not been in the bowling alley.
But it's
yet.
basically
only been
it's
there twice.
Only one lane. And this is 10-pin bowling, you see.
Oh,
because
my
I'm
God.
from the state of Maine. Oh. And in New England, we have a different kind of bowling called candlepin.
Candlepin.
This was 10-pin, you see. Well, the candlepin bowling's another story altogether, which I won't tell now, but maybe in
Good.
about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, well, 8:16.
But I'm
on
trying to
108.9.
say it. Excuse me, I'll stop for time and weather. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying. I am really. We're happy to have you here, Clunk. And it sounds like you're just.
That's my nickname, Clunk.
No, we covered it.
My other nickname is Charles. My last name is Bottoms.
We have gone.
But my
this
actual
path.
last name is Carter. Carter.
It sounds like you said Cotter, and I'm like,
Cotter.
Welcome back.
No, I was not on that show.
No, I wasn't either.
I did make a guest appearance on Good Times, though.
I do remember
Really?
that. I do remember that.
When you and Rerun dance together.
That's
I'm
not good.
picturing
That's
Now
what's
you're
happening.
thinking about
you are
what's
mixing
happening.
that up. That is what's happening.
Oh, you're right. That is what's
oh my
happening.
God. Can we
If
put
I-
my name first again? Because
We're going to have to flip. Honestly, I'll give you that. Let's flip that one around.
It's the Whisp and Geoff show today.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But what I'm thinking, Clunk, and we do have to do traffic here in a second. But what I'm thinking is it seems like you're kind of telling it all in this latest book.
Yes, that's right. My book is called Moonman from Maine.
Moonman from Maine.
I'm the only astronaut, to come from Maine. I come from Maine, the state of Maine,
Yes.
where we bowl candlepin.
Can we get the Maine count up on the screen so we know how many times he says Maine? So far, I'm thinking 12.
It's feeling like 12 minimum.
I have a feeling, boys, I'm about to bust the meter.
Clunk.
Clunk. You got Clunk.
When it comes to mentioning Maine, I do it quite a bit. Why, it's in the title of my book, Moonman of Maine. I'm the only astronaut from Maine.
Right.
I grew up on an island called Isle of Hot, Maine. I was the son of a lobsterman and a lobster woman. And by a lobsterman, I don't mean a hybrid human lobster.
That was
I
my
mean,
next question. Thank you.
That was going to be my second
Scotty
question.
was
No, that
like,
was just
ask the question.
my father. My mother was a hybrid human
She
lobster.
was a...
She was a
I was
lobster.
wondering.
There you
That's
go.
interesting.
There you go.
Most of my exploration, I initially joined the Navy's Lobster Corps, but then they promoted me to the hang gliding unit, and that's how I got recruited into the space program by NASA.
So one quick question on the Lobster Corps.
Just
I've
a
never
quick
heard
one.
about that. And this was my favorite part of the book. And of course, we read every book before our guests come in. It's what we do.
The
That's
second
how we
it
do
comes in.
professional.
Well, I do apologize.
It was a great read. It was
Great read. It was long, but it was very
so long.
intriguing.
482 pages.
Well,
Well,
you saw Infinite Jest and said, "Let me do you one better."
Challenge accepted.
I decided that I wanted it to be exactly the same number of pages as exists in the novel The Stand by Stephen King.
There you go.
Abridged or unabridged?
My countryman, if you would, because he is also from Maine.
Maine.
We
So he
salute
lives up
you.
in Bangor, Maine, whereas I am from Isle of Hot, Maine, which is an island off the coast of Maine. How are we doing on the meter, boys?
We're at 28.
But it just keeps rolling. It doesn't even
literally
stop.
just moving. It's just anticipating Maine. Now, but the question
But
for
I
you,
wrote,
Clunk-
I wanted it to be much
God.
longer, you see.
No.
Of course.
Of course.
In fact,
there's so
the whole
much to
section
say.
of the book was expurgated, they say.
Oh, well.
They would not allow me to include several important chapters.
Oh, my God.
That is interesting.
That's a
So
big-
most of
that was
what
a
you
big
read
word.
in the book, of course, is my growing up in Isle of Hot, recruitment into NASA,
NASA.
all the pranks and
Pranks.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your accent there. What'd you say?
No, I'm just saying I'm following. This is what we
Pranks.
do in radio. We say pranks.
In Maine,
Pranks.
we say pranks.
Oh, that's a classic rock
Pranks.
accent right there.
That
That's
was
what we've
classic.
got.
That was like talking to a member of Styx right there. My quick question before we go to traffic: the lobster corps. Now, were you catching lobsters or were you fighting them?
Good question.
Well, we
I'm
were
a
fighting
professional.
them by catching them, you see.
Okay. There.
The idea
That's why you're the
was-
professor.
Yeah, the idea was you catch the lobster and then you brainwash him.
Brainwash him.
Brainwash them.
Yeah, you
Jeez.
brainwash the lobster because the lobsters want us to die. That's true.
Well,
That is true.
So it was
you
our
heard it
mission
here first.
to create counterinsurgents within the lobster community.
Oh my!
And the way you would do it is you would rub the lobster's the part of the carapace between its two eyes. You would rub it until it became hypnotized, and then you would give it orders: do not resist the humans. By the way, stop creating human lobster hybrids. They're gross.
Wow.
I will say,
so it's more of like a psychic warfare with the lobsters in a lot of ways.
Yes, much of my work in all of my military history and my NASA history was experimental and highly classified.
highly classified, but
Which is
you're hearing
in part
it right
why they
here.
wouldn't let me publish the crucial 19th chapter of my book, Moonman From Maine.
Oh, sure.
But maybe we can get a taste. Maybe we are getting a taste this
we
morning
getting
on the
a taste
Geoff
right now?
and Whisp Show. Clunk, we're going to come back to you really quickly, but first we got to go traffic.
108.9 The Hawk traffic with Art Spart.
Wow! It's raining, it's pouring, and my God, it's flooding? And you can blame Creedence Clearwater Revival for that. Well, maybe I should choose my words carefully. I meant you should blame the Creedence Clearwater Jugglers, America's premier CCR tribute band who were playing the annual Val Verde tribute to Vietnam soundtracks. That is, of course, the celebration of the soundtracks that are on movies or documentaries about the Vietnam War. So, of course, CCC had to play. And the problem is, they were too good. As people were grooving to a guy that sounded so much like John Fogerty was scary, people started yelling out, "This tribute band sounds just like CCR! They must have made a deal with the devil!" To which the singer of CCC gave a little wink and said, "Kind of." Right when they broke into "Have You Ever Seen the Rain?" And we did. The magic or devil work that made CCC so good was also making the CCR songs come to life. Rain as far as the eye could see. But that didn't stop them from grooving even as the water level rose. People were wondering who would stop the rain as they played "Who'll Stop the Rain?" And no one answered that question. It just kept coming down. Then the weather got muggy as all hell when they played "Born on the Bayou." People were fashioning homemade fan boats out of replicas of pontoon boats from Apocalypse Now. And they were going to need it to float down the river that was now going down Hog Street as CCC played. You guessed it, Green River. I tell you, CCR liked water in all its forms. So you better try to avoid all the major roads for the time being, or at least until CCC stops playing this rendition of Bad Moon Rising, because, well, I don't think that is water coming out of this Green River. You can probably expect some werewolves, and that will really mess up your commute. And that's been traffic from the Burt's Funeral Flowers traffic desk. Art Spart, 108.9 The Hawk.
With Burt's Funeral Flowers, with Burt's Funeral Flowers.
Oh my God! And holy shit! Some actual classic rock.
Classic
Some actual classic
My
rock.
God.
8 o'clock hour. We did it. We're coming back with Clunk in a second, but right now the Thor song on 108.9 The Hawk.
For over 100 years, we here at Farnsworth Confectionaries have been making Val Verde's most favorite regional candy. namely the Farnsworth Chocolate Turd. And we here at Farnsworth Confectionery wanted to thank you, the people of Val Verde, for supporting your local candy business. We also wanted to thank you for defending Farnsworth for even making a candy called a chocolate turd. People who didn't grow up loving and eating the chocolate turd just don't understand. Constantly asking you, why would you eat something like that? Yes, I know it's regional, but you really want a candy that's kind of like caramel but tastes like beets? Wait, is it made of beets? Because I also heard that at one point the chocolate turd was actually a medicine back in the 1800s, created by this quack T.T. Farnsworth that was supposed to be a miracle cure-all, but mostly it was for bowel movements. And then one day he realized nobody was buying his snake oil anymore, so then he put a little bit of sugar in there and he started calling it a candy. But for some reason, he also realized that this new candy looked like a real human turd and then called it the chocolate turd, bringing much unneeded attention to the fact that you were basically eating bowel movement medicine. Yep, that's just an everyday occurrence of being a Farnsworth chocolate turd fan. So we appreciate you for defending us. Farnsworth chocolate turds. It's regional.
Here's some of the new rock you'll hear this week on 108.9 The Hawk. Papa Roach.
Claws and butter.
Cut my life into pieces with your claws and butter.
Bionic Toys.
Theme from Bionic Toys.
We are the Bionic Toys, and we make a noise. We are the Bionic Toys.
Black Label Whiskey Bottle.
Partying ain't for free.
Partying, no it ain't for free. Come on!
X marks the spot.
Blood clot.
Had it in my mind, and I have it in my heart. It's a blood clot.
And the latest from Fister, in a collaboration between Fister and Seals and Croft.
Baloney Boys.
You think you know the boys? Oh, I'm talking baloney boys.
That's all the new rock you get on your home for rock. 108.9 The Hawk. Oh, it doesn't get classic, more classic rock than that. It's from their album Down on the Upside from 1996, Soundgarden on 108.
Does it not get more classic than that?
That's what the thing says I have to say. It doesn't get more classic rock than that. And of course,
wrong and
news.
clunky all at once, I have to say.
Scotty, you could have given us a Black Hole Sun. You could have given us an Outshined.
Oh my God, an
Outshined. Us a Rusty Cage. I would have taken Jesus Christ Pose over Pretty News, but that's what we got. And that's what you got to deal with. Scotty's just shaking his head no, and he's putting his hands up like he doesn't know, but he does know.
Scotty doesn't know.
So Scotty doesn't. You got Euro tripped by Clunk. Okay, Clunk, back in the booth.
That was my nickname when I was an astronaut in NASA. Now, let me explain.
No, please.
First of all, the word explain rhymes with Maine. So let's put that on up on the board.
We're going to have fireworks.
It didn't even stop rolling through the commercials. That's the crazy part.
Now, my nickname, too, was a bit of a fun.
It was a bit of a fun, you see, because I was not actually... people would say, why did they name you Clunk? Did you clunk your head into the lunar module as you entered it? That was actually
I did, but that was just
Jeff's
a coincidence.
Yeah,
the reason I clunked my head was that I was drunk. So the point is, my nickname originally was Drunk.
Oh! And you can't have that in the American
President
space
Richard
program.
Nixon said, no. We can't have an astronaut whose nickname is Drunk. We'll call him Clunk. Because of the famous Clunkin'. And so that was just one of the many ways that the history of NASA was misrepresented to the people of America.
My God. Wow. And then that is in the book.
Now, it is. And what I want to say is, earlier I said, when you are in a tin can,
full of space
farts and friends, out in outer space.
That would have been a good name for a book.
Well, it's called Moonman From Maine.
No, I know that. We put it on the board. We do. We do know that. But I'm just saying, friends and bots.
It's too late. It's too late to retitle
but maybe another book.
Right.
Maybe another book. Maybe
if you want to write another one.
This is the definitive book of the only Maine astronaut to have traveled on 19 Apollo missions.
Have they ever tried to get another?
I was on Apollo 28, as you know. I was on Apollo 19. I was on Apollo 17.
Right.
I was going to be on Apollo 15, but I was drunk.
Oh.
And I was on Apollo 13 originally, but I said I don't feel like going on that one. You see.
Well, you really...
I took a look at it, and I said, not for me.
You're like, you took a look at it, and you're like, maybe you didn't put this one together properly.
Yeah, I said, Houston, I'm not going to be part of that problem.
Houston, maybe don't shoot this one into the air.
They didn't listen to old drunk.
When they were making the Apollo 13 movie,
it's called Apollo.
Oh, Apollo.
When they were making
Apollo 1,
Apollo 13,
2, Apollo 3.
And you were famously played by Billy Bob Thornton in the movie, who was just
one of the best scenes.
I was.
His main accent, ridiculously good. So good.
He did some training with me.
Okay, that was my question.
He went with you.
Jesus, that was the question.
He's a method actor.
I didn't want to take any money. I was a fan of Sling Blade.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was just fine, but he insisted on paying me, and he only paid me in vials of Angelina Jolie's blood.
I mean, that's worth more than gold right there, I'd say.
Apparently,
I mean, did he come in with the Sling Blade accent first, and you were like, we're not in Maine territory.
Or was he like, that's good, Apollo 13?
I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not from Central Maine.
I'm fixing
There be monsters.
That's a Central Maine accent talking about mustard on French fried potatoes.
I'm from the coast. I'm from Isle of Haut.
There you go.
Of course.
There's a bit of traffic report from the state of Maine. Just getting this in now. A bit of a slowdown on Route 3.
Wait. Do you want the traffic? Do you want traffic music?
I suppose I do.
Here we go.
108.9 The Hawk Traffic with Art Spart.
It's on to you.
This is not Art Spart. This is Charlie Charles Clunk Bottoms, a.k.a. Carter, talking to you now with the traffic from the state of Maine. Bit of an update that I just got from my Aunt Tina. Called in to say there's a bit of a slowdown on Route 3 between Augusta and Belfast to the tune of there's a car on the road. Be aware. There is a car on Route 3. If you are to drive on Route 3, you might encounter another vehicle. This might cause a bit of a slowdown. Also, be careful taking a left turn into the Belfast Curling Club. Parking lot's pretty full with curlers right now, and there's a dead porcupine in the road. Bit of an update for out-of-state travelers. The road between Isle of Haut and Stonington does not exist. It's an island. Don't try to drive there.
Oh, my God.
This has been Charlie Charles Clunk Bottoms Carter with the traffic from Maine.
Oh, and it's good to hear right here.
That was
making
beautiful.
your way from Val Verde to Maine this morning.
I mean, I also don't know if during that you heard the Maine counter. It was going like one of those old-timey train calendars. It was like...
It sounded like the drums on the beginning of Hot for Teacher.
Oh, my God.
I've got it bad. But I'm not hot for teacher. I'm hot for the truth. Truth
and
is,
you are telling us the
another good book title, but I know that was the definitive
late.
one.
I already told you, it's already been printed.
Late.
Okay.
It's available at every Barnes & Noble and Borders. You can go get it. Moonman from Maine by me. I won't say
And we
the name
do have
again.
copies of Books 1000.
We got it over
here
at
in
Books
Val Verde,
1000 down on
Books
Hot
That one
Street.
there.
So
Yeah,
head
I
on
suppose
down
so. I'm
there.
going over there for a signing later today. If I make it, you see. I might
If
not
you
make it to
make
the
it?
signing.
What do you mean?
My
What would
concern is
happen?
that I will be murdered by government agents before I get there. You see, because I'm telling the truth. There was some material in the book they didn't want me to include, but I'm going to share it with you two on this classic radio rock station program.
We are the
Because
best classic radio rock program.
You're the only interview I've been offered, and
Okay. Wow,
I also have no
Scotty.
desire to continue. with it.
Wow. Real
Good
press
looking,
junket.
Scotty.
So
Let's hit it. Let's hit the hard stuff there.
well,
Clunk.
I was saying before that.
But don't hit the hard stuff. Sorry. I don't want you
Right.
drinking.
We
It's
don't
already
want you
been
to
taken
That was
care
just a
of.
euphemism.
drunk.
Oh, okay. Well, then I guess never mind. All right.
They don't call me Clunk for nothing.
That is true. That is true.
Clunk is also how a drunk person says drunk.
We gotta change his name from drunk.
Oh, my God. Mr. Nixon.
Oh,
President,
Nixon's
are you
back.
here? I
So
thought
that's
you were dead. That's
Some
dead on.
uncanny right there.
Right. It's
Now I'm going to
crazy.
have a little drink of Alan's coffee, Brandon.
Okay.
Brandy. Yeah.
Alan's coffee, Brandy. That's
Alan's Coffee Brandy.
That's a wonderful looking glass song. I love
my mistake.
Yeah,
Alan's Coffee. The product is called Alan's Coffee Brandy.
Of course.
And you can
Alan's
get it
Coffee Brandon invented it.
Yeah. Oh, and he's so good.
Oh, he's a wonderful inventor.
He is so good.
Very nice job with that, I would say.
Good job. Okay.
Cursed a lot of Maine astronauts to poverty. So the point I was making is that when I said that we were stuck in a can full of farts and friends in outer space, that were an exaggeration.
Oh.
The exaggerated part was space. The extra exaggerated part was outer. For indeed, we were not in space at that time or at any time during the entire NASA space program. As they say on social media, let that sink in.
I usually, when I see something on social media, they say, "Suck it up, snowflake." So is this a real suck it up, snowflake moment for us?
That's a good point. I should have asked you to suck it up, snowflake.
Okay.
Okay, well.
So
can you give us a second to suck it up? That's a snowflake.
I ask you to suck it up, and I would ask you also to buckle up, buttercup.
Okay, I'm going to suck.
Because you see, the entire program was a lie. Now, you've heard about this before.
I mean, we heard about the Kubrick thing, and I said that's horseshit because I was good best friends with Stan Kubrick, and he got a little cagey anytime I asked about it, and he would just start. He would automatically shift the story to something The Shining, yet another one from your boy from Maine, and he wouldn't really tell me quite what happened, but
he just started talking about that blowjob bear, right? Every time you asked about the space program.
Yeah, that's actually a real person from Maine, Blowjob Bear.
Really?
That was a real person.
Yeah, that was based in reality. See, I have mixed feelings about The Shining, because on the one hand, I also worked with Stanley Kubrick on the filming of the moon landing, you see. That is true.
Okay.
Right.
And he asked me afterward, because we did fake that moon landing, and we shot it in Maine, you see. We shot it on a beach on Isle of Haut, on the dark side of Isle of Haut.
Was it your land on Isle of Haut that it was done on, or was it just like a public park?
All the land, all the beachfront is owned communally on Isle of Haut.
Okay.
Oh,
it's a socialist.
So you didn't have to rent a gazebo to do
because of the farmer. No, not for the moon landing. No.
Okay. I was wondering if I saw a gazebo.
Stanley looked at it and I said, "Look, here is a beach in Maine.
Right.
Does this look like the moon to you?" And he goes, "It looks a little inhospitable compared to the surface of the moon. Looks a little
worse for wear than the moon."
That sounds just like Stan, by the way.
Looks like human life could not survive on this beach.
Oh,
I gotta say that does sound like a Maine beach.
I gotta tell you, it's like I am talking to my best friend in the world, Stan Kubrick, right now, because he would talk about how comfortable the moon looked all the time, and then he would just shit on anything else. I would take him out by the banks of the Val Verde River down there in Slayer Gulch, and he would be
one of the most beautiful lands.
What is this? And now I just realized he was probably scouting places to shoot the moon landing.
Scouting for the Moon, which is a good book title.
That is.
That's a good book title. Put it on the
fact, it was one that Stanley Kubrick actually wrote. It's in one of his boxes out there in England. Yeah. But they suppressed that too, They didn't want him to talk about it. That's why he had to make The Shining. Now, I had mixed feelings about The Shining, you see, because I liked Stanley. We worked together closely, pretending we landed on the moon there in Maine. We worked together quite closely. We drank a lot of coffee's Allen brandy.
Of course.
Also Allen's Coffee Brandy.
Two different
both of them. You'd alternate. Double fist it.
And Brandon was there. He's like, who wants a top off?
I would like you, Clunk, to come and consult on the making of The Shining, because I'm going to admit obliquely, I'm going to admit to faking the moon landing by putting a child in a sweater. I'm going to put a child in an Apollo sweater, and it will be my confession, you see. And I said, Stanley, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
He said the dumbest shit.
If you want to confess, do so. If you want to confess, follow my lead. Wait until your children who were kidnapped by Richard Nixon finally starve to death in that bowling alley. Then there's nothing over you, and you can finally tell the truth on a radio program.
Wait, he did not.
This is an extra detail here.
This is a detail they died.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. They died.
That was too grim. They died of old age and misadventure.
But in the bowling alley they died.
Oh yes.
Wait. So
they lived there? They lived there well into the Obama era.
Oh my!
Things they don't tell you.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
You know, I got to say though, there's nothing sadder than a parent outliving their children.
Oh,
But
Just
Stanley
like when they're staying in the bowling alley of the White House until the Obama administration.
oh my God!
Rest in power to your children.
Rest in power to your children.
That's what
I imagine they're still down there.
Not a bad book title also. Rest in power to your children.
I have to tell you the truth. They weren't my children. They were weak arms, buzzes. They all had children. I never did, you see, because I was a bachelor. Married to the sea, I was.
Married to the sea.
But not married to space, because I've never been.
You've never been
No
to space.
human has, you see.
Nobody.
No, we had to say that we did in order to make sure that the Russians didn't go.
Of
the
course.
Russians went anyway, of course.
But then
Wait, so
the
the-
Russians
so here's
had
another-
trouble
wait.
get there?
What?
We're just blown away. We're trying to suck it up like the snowflakes we are.
trying
Wait,
to
the
tell you
Russians got to the moon, but we didn't?
Well, that's quite right. They're there now, you think.
Oh my! They're there now.
Oh, yeah, of course they are. They are India, China, Israel. They all have moon bases.
And we didn't. Why did they get there and we didn't?
Well, we didn't want to go, you see. We just wanted to fake it, you see, in order to chase them off for a bit. Didn't work.
It didn't work.
Didn't work.
Just
But we
it
kept
worked.
sending shuttles into space, but we didn't.
Oh, well, the shuttles didn't really go into space, you see.
So they just like flew
No,
to an
low
island.
Earth orbit at best.
Oh my
At
God.
best.
Yeah, but I don't look. I was off of the Apollo project by that time,
Right.
And by 1979, 1980, Stanley Kubrick was saying, "I want to confess through a movie version of a Stephen King book."
The best way to confess.
If you're
And
gonna confess, I've
and
always
I said, "Well, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But I must recuse myself because, first of all, you're going to ruin a great work of fiction called The Shining by Stephen King."
who is
not
from
It was from Maine.
Maine.
Maine, I said. Maine. Yeah, Maine. And of course, Stephen King is not a fan of the movie The Shining because
No.
Stanley Kubrick took out all the parts of the moving topiary and the giant game of shuffleboard or whatever it was. I don't know.
That's true. That's true. And
Croquet.
seemingly
it
he
was.
never was psyched with Shelley Duvall's portrayal of his wife.
And also, Stephen
thought,
King
"That's not
said,
my wife."
and I quote, "Why did you use my book to confess to faking the moon landing?"
Valid point.
That's a real good question.
So
honestly.
out of-
Good question.
I could have made quite a bit of money, you know, consulting on The Shining, but I didn't because of my obligation to my home state of Maine.
Maine.
Stephen King is from Bangor, Maine.
He is.
I'm from Isle of Hot, Maine.
Isla
Stanley
Hot.
Kubrick isn't from Maine at all. But I said there are two things. I will leave you with two things. Two words, two areas of advice, Stanley. First of all,
One.
put in Blowjob Bear. Now, he had never heard of him. He had never heard of Blowjob Bear. And I'll tell you something else. Blowjob Bear is not in the original novel. No. If you read through that book, you will not find a single mention of a blowjob bear.
The
Not the
one thing that was
Bear.
ever edited from a Stephen King book was Blowjob Bear.
Blowjob Bear was not even from Bangor. Blowjob Bear was a neighbor of mine on Isle of Hot.
Isle of Hot.
Yeah. And, he dressed as a bear. Now, people say, was he a human-bear hybrid? No.
That was my
It was
question.
just a
That
man.
was,
It
that
just
was my question too.
A man in a bear suit who enjoyed giving blowjobs. I said, this would be good for your film. Don't know what it says about the moon, but I think you should put it in. That's a bit of Maine trivia for you.
I think it says a lot about the moon because
I think so, too.
I'm questioning the moon while watching The Shining, but I'm also just like, wait a second. Does the inclusion of Blowjob Bear mean anything about the moon?
People wonder, don't they?
And
They truly
Ebert
do.
said it.
They think it's part of the conspiracy. But no, it was just something I suggested.
Siskel asked it.
My other piece of advice for Stanley Kubrick was
two?
only... Yeah, part two. Was only this. Lots of takes. Get a lot of takes.
You're going to have to get a lot of takes.
Because when we faked the moon landing, Stanley Kubrick was like one and done.
Really?
It was
One
like
and
working with
done.
Ed Wood out there on the beach. I mean, give me another one for me, Stanley, I
He was
said.
like, that's great. Cut it.
Give me one.
Cardboard
give me one more.
spaceship getting knocked over. He didn't care. He's like, just keep on going.
Flag just waving.
Now, for all the times I visited the fake moon, I only stepped on the fake moon surface once. The rest of the time, I was in the fake lunar module, landing module.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Collecting and organizing fake specimens.
Of course.
I was in B-roll, you see. B-roll for the fake moon landing.
But
Every now and then they would cut to me and they would say, what you doing there? And I'd say, I'm organizing a specimen. Really what I was doing was drinking Brandon's Coffee Alley.
The coffee brandy.
Brandon's Coffee Alley, it was called.
So basically, you were in.
And I had to drink. I couldn't drink it out of a glass, of course, because I had to pretend I was in a low-gravity environment.
So
Of course. You had to show off that you were catching those drops in your mouth.
Yeah, so I got what was then a prototype for the Capri Sun, filled it full of Brandon's Coffee Alley, and I drank from it. Well, I clunk from it.
Are you saying that this conspiracy also involves the good people at Capri Sun?
This is the part that I'm having the hardest time believing.
I literally just asked my britches.
They're not good people.
Oh my God!
Wow!
If you look
People,
at their,
you heard it
if you look at their
here
corporate
first.
charter, if you look at their corporate charter, it says, "How do we train children of the
got it right
world?"
here.
Our mission is to train children of the world to drink from bags as though it were a dystopian society.
Wow! It is right here.
It's right
in my back
here.
pocket. I always keep my Constitution, and I keep my Capri Sun corporate
charter.
They were preparing. They were preparing children for a nuclear apocalypse. You see.
Wow!
And so essentially serving them bunker food.
Oh, not
The
That's
original
food.
preppers.
That's how Lunchables was born.
Oh no!
Oh, my
Too bad.
God.
Cancel lunch, Scotty. I'm gonna have to eat something else.
I'm not gonna have a cold little weird pizza you make in your own box. I can't do it anymore because this is
I
like a
said
sign
the children of Earth deserve better.
I say the children of the earth deserve better.
That's included on the
Feed them
audiobook
food.
of my book.
I hope so. I hope so.
It is
Moonman
a very,
from Maine.
very long audiobook.
Now,
too.
it's an
Lots of
ironic-
songs.
It's an ironic title, of course.
Too
'cause
many
I
songs.
never were on the moon. No man
is
ever
true.
was. And indeed, I was only on the fake moon one time. One time,
In full color.
Skip Droman was not able to walk on the fake moon due to a misadventure. So I had to climb down the ladder and take my walk on it for Stanley's cameras. And and I walked and I adjusted the flag. And then Stanley said, "Cut." And I said, "Please, Stanley, one more for me."
One more for me. One for Clunk.
For me, please.
And he said, "No."
Wow.
But I'll tell you something. A lot of people ask, what was it like to be on the fake moon?
Hey, what was it
I was
like?
just about to say, what's it like to be on the fake moon?
Well, I would say it was somewhat humbling. And though I'm not a spiritual person, it put me in the mind of God. Thinking and standing there alone on that blasted plain of rock known as a Maine beach, doubling as the moon, looking into the dark night sky and staring at the little blue marble that they call Earth. It was actually a blue marble, you see, because of the camera. We had to
blue marble.
Oh, yeah.
we had to put a
Special
blue
effects.
marble
You got to have a marble.
into a black velvet backdrop. And Stanley wanted me to look at it and think about it for a bit, and I did.
Oh, my God.
And
Well,
it was somewhat humbling, and it put one in the mind of God. And specifically, it made me realize that I am God.
that's
Breaking
a huge,
news.
breaking news. Hey, that's a huge one to pause on for a second, Clunk. We do got to pay some bills here. And when I think of the sound of God, now I know it's the sound of Clunk's voice. But before, I thought it was Green Day on 108.9 The Hog.
For over 100 years, Val Verde Memorial Hospital has proudly served the Val Verde Valley, and we're hopefully not stopping anytime soon. I'm Chief Hospital Person Michelle Sally Dabbs. X-rays, MRIs, oxygen tanks, heart monitors, hospital beds. Yep, we've got them all, but we're still a little unsure how to use them. You heard that correctly. For over 100 years, Val Verde Memorial Hospital has amassed some of the greatest medical equipment this modern world has created. But truthfully, we're still researching just how to use it. If you're in our halls and you hear a code green, that means 3 doctors are needed to Google how to use a defibrillator. Code 42 means there are 42 patients in dire need of medical assistance, and that number is too high. Woof. Push some of those sickies into the parking lot, you get it. Code food truck? All that means is that the food truck has finally parked out front. Hooray! Dinner is on. Okay, fine, I agree science has done some amazing things, and one day I'm sure we'll catch up to it. I mean, statistically we have to, right? Anyways, come see us at Val Verde Memorial Hospital, where our creed is, your life are many confused hands.
This is Johnny Rotten. You ever feel like you've been cheated? Well, I don't when I'm listening to 108.9 The Ock Doodah.
He was a nematologist, a scientist who studies worms and their uses specifically in agriculture. And he brought all of his skills to a small Texas town full of underprivileged children and taught them how to use the worms to help their small farming community. In the surprisingly dry, based on a true story biopic that you always thought was an action movie. Because the original VHS box was very loose in its interpretation, so it kind of looked like it was a mix of Dune and Tremors. Jim Belushi, Reba McEntire, and Peter Weller. He controls the worms because he is the Worm Master. Channel 8, your home for great shit.
Oh, a twofer. That's what you call in the industry a double shot of Green Day, formerly known as the voice of God on 108.9 The Hawk. But now we know that isn't true on the Geoff and Whisp Show.
Don't listen to American Idiot, because it ain't the voice of God. I'll tell you that.
The voice of God.
I enjoyed that very much. That was some fun. Geoff and Whisp, what a pleasure it has been to be here with you.
It's been so good having you here, Clunk. Our minds are blown. I will say the moon thing, I kind of feel like I've been betrayed and lied to.
A little bit.
It gets me more.
Really?
I feel sad that I have to believe those sad people in room 237 and all their conspiracy theories. The 237.
You were
I was doing my Billy Bob Thornton voice
there.
there.
Which one?
It
Which
sounded
one
like a Central Maine accent to me.
Yeah. I think it was a Central Maine. Yeah, I thought I was doing a Jersey, and then it became a Central Maine. That's just a simple fact.
Oh
I
God.
can't believe it. I feel like my
Woonsocket, Presque Isle.
Woonsocket.
Wow. That's a very typical Presque Isle accent, I have to say.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna put that in my back pocket. I got a Presque Isle.
You could fit in there quite well, I would say. It would be some fun for you to move up there and pretend to be a local.
I mean, that helps in my sadness a little bit about not ever going to the moon.
Clunk, we're looking at the board here, and I just want to say we are at 1,323 mentions of Maine so far, and we've only been on with you for 30-some minutes.
Well, that's some cunning right there. I like it.
Is that a normal day for Clunk?
In
Have we
Maine?
been clunked this morning?
You got clunked. In the state of Maine.
Oh man!
Hang on 1 second. I have to make a quick phone call.
Please do, please.
Calling my publisher.
Okay, call them.
Of course.
Alfred Edward Knopf.
Oh,
Alfred.
God. I can't believe he's got his number.
It's me, Clunk. Yes, I'm on the radio now. Yes, I am telling the truth. Yes, listen, you know how I was going to go over to the Books 1000 to do a book signing here in town? And I was afraid for my life because I was going to reveal that the space mission was fake and also I'm God. Yes. Oh, you remember that. Good. Thank you. Well, listen, a number of alternate titles have come up for the book. That I know it's been published already and printed. And I've said that from the beginning, I only wanted to be called Moonman of Maine. That's right. But Alfred, please calm down. I mean, calm down in advance because I'm going to say something you don't like.
Uh-oh.
Withdraw the book.
Oh, God.
This is what I want you to do, Alfred. I want you to get every copy. And I want you to personally pulp it. Pulp every one.
Pulp it enough.
I've got a new name. We'll republish it. I mean, maybe keep the interior pages, but not the title page, because I'm changing the title only. Yes,
Smart
you understand. Here it is. You ready for the new title?
Oh, here it is. Come on.
Alfred, are you sitting down?
Sit down, Alfred.
You got clunked. I'm putting my hand over the phone now to speak to you, Geoff.
Okay, yes, please.
That's a good move.
How did Knopf take
He
it?
says he loves it.
I had a feeling.
He loves it.
He gets it.
Joyous time. Knopf gets it. I always
All
say
right.
that.
That's it.
If
Alfred Edward Knopf. Yes, we're on. Good. Geoff and Wispy wants to know if you'll blurb it. Will you blurb the book?
Oh my God, we'll blurb the hell out of it.
I think we would say you're gonna feel real good because your ass just got clunked.
I think that's good. Yeah.
And just
Hear
say
that one, Alfred? He heard it.
he heard it. Knopf.
Just that
Tell
good.
Knopf I'll
But credit
call
it
him
to
later.
both of us,
Tell
even though
Knopf.
he said it.
No,
Credit
no,
both
just
of
to
us.
me. Wisp
No,
Turlington.
make sure you get both
Just
of us.
Wisp
You gotta get in
Turlington.
there.
And tell Knopf
All
I'll
right,
talk to
they
him
both
later.
want to be. I don't understand. Anyway, yes, say goodbye. Say hello to Janice for me. Tell her that I love her and I enjoyed our
Janice
lovemaking. Goodbye.
Janice is wonderful. Janice is wonderful.
Janice, wonderful.
Well, if there's one song that I think of for old Charlie Clunk Bottoms, it's got to be this. When you get right down to it at the end of the day, life's been good to Clunk.
So far. So
He gets it.
far. He gets it. He gets it. Hey, Skeet Ulrich coming up in the 9 o'clock hour. He was going to talk about space
Talk
travel,
about
but he's
space travel.
shaking his head now. He said I don't
screwed.
know what I've got. Maybe we'll talk
read the
about
book.
Jericho
Jeff and
or
Wisp,
something.
I need to ask you something, though.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
After this, I was to go over to Books 1000 to do the book signing.
Right.
But in fact, we have 30,000 copies of the book over there that need to be burned. Will you come with me and we'll burn them?
Oh, I love a good book burn.
I love wonderful book burning.
100%.
That's good. Sorry.
We're
I just
on our
needed-
way.
I just needed one more take from me. I know you were trying to play me off, Kubrick style.
No.
no.
Oh, yeah, you got us. You got us there, man. One for me. Hey, if you want to
one
see
for
some
me.
books going up in flames, head on over to Books 1000 over on
It's
Hot
gonna be
Street.
hot.
It's going to be hot, starting at 10 a.m. And meet an American legend, Charlie Clunk Bottoms. We'll be there on 108.9 The Hog.
That was really fun.